All right, let's go ahead. I'd like to call the meeting of the Dune City Council to order. It's Thursday, November 10th, 2016 at 7 p.m. I'd like to have a roll call, please.
Certainly. Council President Maury Sanders.
Here.
Where shall I start? City Council Member Tom Mallon.
Here.
Councilor Ed Scarberry.
Here.
And Councilor Ken Platt.
Here.
Councilor Duke Wells is absent and excused, and as is Mayor Rebecca Reedy.
And Sheldon.
Oh, and Sheldon, that's right. Sheldon, no, I forgot. Sheldon called in weeks ago and let us know.
Okay. Can we all rise for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In regards to the agenda tonight, I'd like to pull some items, and I'll give my reasons for it. Item 8C, I'm pulling from the agenda because we have no ordinance to review. Item 8D, animal control ordinance. I have asked that to be pulled upon for two reasons. Number one, this body would be ordained, and 3 of the 4 people up here will not be in office in less than 60 days. In my opinion, it'd be better to have the new council look at it. So that means 9A is not going to be going anywhere. 10A is not going to go anywhere. 10B is not going to go anywhere. It will all be held until to the January meeting unless there is a change. The acquisition of property item will be left on the agenda, but I will be reluctant to call any executive session with action based upon the fact that 3 of the 4 members on this body will be going into executive session to hear information and possibly come back out here and make a decision that would incur a significant investment in city funds. In my judgment, I believe that is something for new council to do. I'm not taking the easy way out on this. It's the way I feel about it. Is there any objections to what I've said that I'd like to do as a chair?
I think that makes
Concur?
sense.
Concur. Okay. So this will be a very short meeting tonight. With that being said, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Noting amended bills of the session.
I didn't see that. So if there is a motion, it has to be to approve as amended with the amended bills of the session. Okay.
So moved. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Announcements and correspondence. The next Budget Committee meeting is scheduled for January 19th, 2017 at 5:30 p.m. This will be the first meeting of the Budget Committee with all new members of the City Council on board. The next one is birthday wishes to Gary Baker on November 3rd, City Administrator Jamie Mills on the 23rd, and I was told that I had to acknowledge that my birthday is on the 25th. So happy birthday to us all. Refreshments are going to be served afterwards, and please join us. All right, item 7, citizen input on items not listed on the agenda. Is there any citizen that has signed up to speak before this body?
Yes, there is.
All right.
Ian Wright.
Ian Wright. Please, sir, if you come up here and have a seat.
Where now?
Right there.
Oh, okay.
From your sign-in, your name is Ian Wright. You're not a Dune City resident. You present a mailing address, so Mr. Wright, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, the reason I came here is your city administrator told me that you were thinking of taking the portage out. And one of the things I wanted to point out is, I don't know if you guys know how much that gets used in the summertime, but in the summertime, we have the dam closed virtually probably from April on. And so the water is right up to the cement there, but if the tide's out, the other side of the dam is a 7-foot fall off. And my concern is as much as that's been used over the years, somebody's gonna come up there and then they're gonna look and, you know, how they're gonna get down then. You know, there's no trails around in the trees or anything like that. So if you take the portage out, they come up there, there's gonna be a 7-foot fall off if the tide's out. Tide's in, it's only gonna be 3 or 4 feet. But if the tide's out and it's a minus tide, it could be 8 or 9 feet. And so you're creating a bigger problem taking it out than what, the way I understand it, it's the trees that have created the problem. I used to take a crew down. I've done it 3 or 4 different times. I've even had Coast Road haul a cat down so I could get a tree out down there. And one of the things that makes it easy is Fish and Wildlife. They don't want you to take that, what you're cutting off makes habitat for the fish. So that you just chunk it and leave it in the water. And so that's what they prefer. So to go down and clean that out isn't that big a deal. I quit doing it because IP has been on me about keeping the budget down. And as of today, I got a message that the paper mill is sold, but the site is sold. So there's some new owners, don't know anything, they haven't talked to us, they don't know what we do or anything. So, but they do have the money, so this all is gonna change. But my big concern, taking the portage out, is the amount of people going down. We've seen as high as 20 people in one day going down there. You take that out, and there's no way to get around down, you know, short of somebody going in there and doing something. But and when in the wintertime, when there is current like there is now, because of the rain, we leave one gate open and you can take your boat or whatever. I've actually taken the boat right out to the ocean. I haven't done it for a few years, but with the one gate open, they aren't going to, they actually can't get to the portage because the portage is about 3 feet. The cement's about 3 feet up to get when the dam's open. So to me, taking the portage out creates a bigger safety problem, and you know, that's the way I feel about it. I don't see any, you know, if somebody gets tangled up in a tree, I don't see how that reflects on you guys here. You know, that's Mother Nature. But it is pretty easy. I've done it for quite a few years. I've been the supervisor over the dams, both Tacna, since 1980. So there's not much that's gone on that I don't know about. I mean, I was the one that rebuilt the dam here in 2006. I mean, I've been involved in this forever. So to me, it would be a mistake to take the portage out, and it doesn't make any difference to me, but all the kayakers, it's going to create some safety issues. The other thing is how they're going to get around it. They're going to go, there's no way for them to get up where the fish ladder is, so, you know, at this point, you know, it was the Forest Service that asked to get that in there, and then it got handed off to you guys. But anyway, that's just my point.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Wright. Ms. Mills, do you have this gentleman's contact information? He may be a valuable resource in the future for us.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Appointment to the Budget Committee. In your package, you have Linda John, who's made an application to be on the Budget Committee. What say you?
I have no objections. Is the applicant here?
Linda John is not here.
No, she's not.
Her husband is Chris John, who used to be on the road commission when we had a road commission, so.
I can speak in her behalf. I know her, I work with her.
Please come to the mic.
Sure. Bonnie Allen. She is a neighbor of mine. So I know her in a personal way, a neighborly way. She's also a technician at Peace Health. I have found her to be concerned about civic issues, and she's precise and responsible, and I would recommend her to the Budget Committee.
Thank you. Any comment from the council? Any motions from the council on this Budget Committee application for appointed office?
I would move that we appoint Linda John to the Budget Committee.
There's a motion to appoint Linda John. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Welcome, Linda John. Next item is Resolution Series 6, 2016, number 12, dated 11/10/2016. Ms. Mills, would you like to do your thing?
The resolution is to approve entering into a deed of easement and agreement with Julianne Ellis for the installation of a piped drain that connects to the culvert on Keachley Arm Road and takes it down to an open area where it can spread out over the land, both below her house and her neighbor's house, which is Mr. Revis. In exchange for granting us that easement, which is about 200 feet, I believe, long, pretty close to 200 feet long, and 7 feet wide. The proposal is that we repair her driveway, put in the culvert that we require culverts on driveways where they're needed, and one was needed there but never put in. So put in the culvert there and repair the apron and smooth out the rest of the gravel driveway, and if that requires additional gravel, we would bring in more gravel, which is a change to what you see in your packet. There was one little clause that was added onto page.
What document are you referring to? The deed of
I am
easement?
looking at Exhibit A to the resolution,
Okay.
and it would be on page 2 of 3 in the last full paragraph on the page.
How should it read?
No, I take that back. It's on page, it's on the second page. It's the paragraph above that one. In exchange, install and maintain drainage facilities described in here. The city will install a culvert under owner's driveway off of Keachley Arm Road and connect said culvert to the newly installed drainage ditch to carry Keachley Arm runoff down the pipe. Well, that's not going to be there. Oh, here we go. It is the right paragraph. For further consideration, the city agrees to repair and repave owner's driveway apron to smooth out owner's existing gravel driveway, including additional gravel if necessary.
So the word including additional gravel if necessary needs to be inserted in this?
Yes.
Okay. So if this is adopted, it'll have to be adopted with that amendment to it, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if I understand this correctly, the city's going to get the right to ensure drainage off this roadway, and in exchange to have that right of easement, the city's going to basically bring their driveway apron up to snuff and put drainage underneath it. How much will it cost?
The estimate came in at $7,800. However, the supplies were about 1,000 higher than we expected. So, but he didn't need all of it to do what he thought we didn't need all of it to do what he did. And so it's about right around 8,000.
And I know we spoke together privately before the meeting. Is there anything else you want to disclose to the council about this?
Well, Mr. Palmer did move forward on the project and has completed most of the drainage hookup because of the impending rains. The fear was if we left it as it was, the neighbor would incur damages. And so he went ahead and did the work, even though the agreement was still in the process of being negotiated and prepared. Mrs. Ellis did sign the new agreement today. She came in, picked it up, took it to the notary and signed it. So it is signed, and as far as that side goes, for a perpetual easement on the property so that we can go in and maintain it on a regular basis so that it will continue to do what it needs to do.
Were you aware that he was doing the work?
I was.
Before this body had to act and approve the expenditure of the funds? Is it because you had the authority of the budget to do this?
Well, the attorney it goes back to a meeting that we had with the attorney, the engineer, and Richard Palmer, road public works maintenance supervisor. And everyone agreed that this is what needed to be done. And Mrs. Ellis had agreed to it verbally at the time. It was agreed to not officially, not formally, but it seemed to be consent from the council that resolving the litigation was important. So he moved forward because there was a break in the weather and an opportunity to do it.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You said a break in because of the lawsuit. I don't see anywhere in this how the lawsuit filed by Rivas has been dismissed, or it will be dismissed on the basis of this action or anything. Those are two separate issues. I'm just viewing this on its own merits in front of us.
Okay. Well, for the record, yes, I authorized the expenditure of the money ahead of time. Am I allowed to do that? No, I am not.
I think you are.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well, then I think this council better adopt this thing, right?
Well, that's what I'm hoping, but if you do decide to adopt it, the other change that needs to be made is you have to take my name off of it. Because I leave in the morning and I don't have time I don't know too many notaries. I can wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and ask them to notarize my signature.
What do you want to do, council?
I think we go ahead and prove it. It had to be done during a dry period, so I have no problem with the way it was done.
I don't have any problem either. I do have a question. We are required apparently to add this gravel to her driveway, is that correct?
Only because he tore it up quite significantly with his equipment. And that we're trying to return it to a condition that it was in beforehand.
Okay. Is there a period of time stated in the new wording that takes us up for a number of months, or it's just to make this present repair and then our obligation stops as far as adding gravel?
It doesn't say that specifically, and you make a very valid point. If you need a change to the language, then this is going to have to wait until January, or December, excuse me, until December. I didn't even foresee that, and apparently neither did the attorney who.
I wouldn't either, but I'm building a house and I realize how fast gravel goes away, and it can continue to go away, you know.
The sign of a good city, the sign of a good city administrator is one who has to take calculated risks to do what's right and understand the implications. I have no problem with what you did. I just want you to know that. Timing was such that we were preventing one of our citizens from suffering some horrendous flooding issues. So I applaud you for that. I just wanted the whole council aware of the whole picture so they knew. You're earning your medal, and I appreciate it. So, is there a motion to authorize the city administrator to execute the deed of easement and agreement for construction of drainage facilities as amended?
You would have to sign it, because I can't.
Or to have myself as the council president sign this deed of easement as amended.
I would make that motion for resolution 12.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carried unanimously. I've got one. That's over with. All right, let's move on to item number 10C, unfinished old business, website advertising. Ms. Mills.
Councilor Scarberry requested that this item be placed on the agenda, and I'm glad that he did, because we did look into it. I did look into it with staff, and the ads, I misspoke, the ads that are on the website are being paid for. In the packet, she provided, if I can find it. She provided a breakdown of what the charges are. And the size, and a sample of the sizes. Just can't find them now. I guess it's way far back, huh?
Was the issue on this about website being paid advertising?
Well, that and updating, because some of the advertisers are no longer in business. And that, I just started looking at that page, and well, they're not even in business anymore. And then I just started wondering how many of the advertisements on there, or the companies and businesses mentioned, were actually paying.
Okay. So is it,
If you could tell me which one, I was concerned about Booth Island because I wasn't sure that they were still in business, but Marvin came by and paid the bill and he says yes for at least a year.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I've got a sheet of paper in my truck where I went through and wrote down, but there's one of them that no longer exists is the little putt-par thing out on 101 in Glenada.
Okay, was that just a reference or was it an actual ad? Because we did both. We gave references as far as things to do in Dune
Right.
City, but didn't allow an actual advertising with a picture and a link and all that other
Yeah,
stuff.
I can't remember now, but I remember that there was references to businesses that are no longer operating.
And so
it
you're more
started-
concerned with cleaning it up.
Well, that, and it started me thinking, you know, we're advertising basically under things to do. So there's an opportunity, you know, going back to my days on the revenue committee, I'm thinking of ways to bring money in. So if you're throwing a little bit of tidbit out there, things to do, well then maybe that business would want to buy one of these ads. And just get that whole page updated and maybe get some more income from it.
And focus on some efforts in that direction. Okay. Is that the pleasure of council?
what action, if any, is desired at this point?
I don't think any action by us right now. I think more, maybe a little bit more staff time just to look at that page and go through it. And I can share with Jamie the list I made.
Okay.
I just forgot to bring it in.
Then we will just leave it there and have you guys have your discussion and we'll move on.
Sounds good.
Item 10D, vacation of undeveloped roadway, Silcoos Lake Club plat. Now, because I have property impacted by this, I am not going to participate in any discussion, but I will share the reason behind this agenda item regardless of what it is.
Skip the Portage conversation.
I don't have it on an agenda.
Is that the amended agenda?
You probably haven't Is this it?
Oh, Silkus River Dam Portal. All right. All right, you're up.
Okay. I contacted International Paper to get permission for a contractor to come and investigate what is necessary to remove. Taking the portage out is probably not going to be a problem at all. It's removing the pier. And then in the process, I had a nice conversation with Mr. Wright. And of course, now it's all up in the air, because if it's sold, it would be new owners that we'd need to negotiate with to get onto the property. Because you can't get to it from the other side, at least not easily.
Yeah, could I make a point of clarification?
Please.
And it's never been this body's intent to remove the portage. That came from the state because we didn't want to re-up the agreement that expired a couple of years ago, and so they've been dealing with Jamie back and forth, and they wanted the removal of it if we're not going to re-up the lease, or the agreement on
That
it.
if we don't pay the money to the state said, then you have to remove
Yeah,
it.
so it's never been our idea to remove the portage.
Right.
That's been coming from Salem.
That's correct. The state requires it if we don't renew the license. Now, Mr. Wright said something I had never heard before, and that was that the Forest Service was interested in it being there. Or perhaps put it there in the first place, I don't know, but, because that was before my time. And that is not one organization that I've talked to about this, although I've talked to an awful lot of organizations about it, trying to find somebody that would be willing to take it, and haven't had any luck at all, so.
Could I throw another
Please.
piece? And another piece of information new to me that I picked up from Mr. Wright talking to us is that the state likes actually having all those debris in the river. I know that's good for lakes and ponds and things, but for navigable river, that surprises me because it's advertised as a canoe trail, which after a certain amount of debris is in there, really hampers the idea of it being a canoe trail because it gets dangerous. So I think we've got state agencies that maybe have got different ideas that are mixing together because after a while, it does not lend itself to safe travel with a kayak, canoe, or anything. It may be great for fish, but if you're going to advertise it as a canoe trail, then the state has a responsibility of keeping it open to make it safely navigable for the people using it. So that was confusing to me, hearing that they like the debris in there because, you know, every winter they're going to like it a little bit better because there's more trees that are going to be coming down.
I think the irony is it's not even in Dune city limits, and yet here we are.
Yeah, we spent lots of hours on this, and you know, it's not inside city limits.
What do you guys want to do with this?
You know, we're right back to square one. Is that we don't want to be responsible for the portage, but we also don't want to go to the expense of removing something that probably is going to do more damage to the area than leaving it.
Do you want to kick the can down the road?
I would, you know, probably not politically correct to say it, but I would drag my feet on it and tell the state, well, we're trying, but we can't. I could never agree to say, okay, we'll take the portage out and then we're going to rip that concrete abutment out because that's going to do a horrendous amount of damage. It doesn't make sense. And on the same point, they need, the other agency needs to address the stuff that's filling up the canoe trail. Either that or quit calling it a canoe trail. So I don't know. I don't know where we go from here on that.
And we're talking $300, correct?
350,
$350 for how long?
5 years. Maybe 380.
That's what, $72, $75 a year?
Yeah.
Is it possible that the kayaking rental places would be supportive of this, or the Chamber of Commerce, or to pick up that tab? I mean, it's not in the city.
We have been trying and I haven't had any luck yet.
Well, this doesn't require action tonight, it doesn't require action next month, but it's gonna require action, I know that. And I know that the three of us up here, except for the gentleman on my right, are not gonna be here. I personally like to see the Forest Service approach with this, with the dilemma we're facing. See if they can step in. I don't know if the new owners to the property might want to also step in. You know, a corporate contribution to the betterment of the community that they would be part of may be something they would not mind doing. And I'm assuming it's a business, Mr. Wright, that purchased it. Or you said you don't have any idea, correct? You don't have any idea who bought it?
That's buying the mill, their corporation, do you know?
No.
And it's amazingly like a secret deal. They haven't talked to us at all.
Okay, well, at some point,
Right,
we
they'll
don't
have
know
to.
who, and I think at that point, we just drag our feet, quote unquote, as Councilor Scarborough says, until we can find out who this owner is and approach them and the Forest Service with a dilemma. That would be my best way of viewing a possible resolution to this thing. What do you gentlemen think?
Well, I'm wondering also, have we contacted our state senator or legislator about this and put a bug in their ear about it?
Not that I know of. I haven't.
I haven't either. I just
And
wondered.
that might be another way to go, or the Park Service, because they encourage this. And maybe they would at least, for us, the problem is the liability. For me in particular, because that latest state Supreme Court ruling that indicated that the cities have recreational immunity, but the employees do not. The employees of the city do not. So that's a real motivator, not only for me, but for cities throughout the entire state. And I know it's going to be a hot issue before the legislature this next go-round. But in the meantime, we're dangling out here.
Well,
So if perhaps if Parks and Rec is interested, and they seem to be, in keeping these trails open, maybe I can say, okay, fine, but take liability. You know, if you can hold us harmless from any liability for injury, we'll continue the license on the agreement, because that's the concern, right?
That's
That
my
is the
biggest
concern.
Liability.
So I'll try another stab at it in December, because I see stuff coming from Parks and Rec all the time. And I will, you know, pursue Forest Service, because they were apparently the one that started it.
You know, it's amazing to me, in 4 or 5 hours, you get 2 guys in the boat, and then what we do is we'd have a radio with somebody on the dam, and we'd open and close the dam. In 4 or 5 hours, you can have that whole area clear, because you're not having to deal with what you're cutting off, and you just chunk it, and it's amazing how quick. I mean, I used to do it almost every year, and I haven't done it because they've cut my budget back. But you take, you know, like 3 guys and go down there with we always had 3 or 4 chainsaws because we were sticking them, but and it's just in 5 hours you can have that to where you could, you know, and we were in an 18-foot boat, and we never had any trouble getting back and forth.
Have you seen these pictures?
I have, yeah, and some of them I'm not sure.
Question where they're located.
Yeah,
These
yeah,
are
I'm
all-
not sure where they're at.
I put in a tie in the kayak, and I went down as far as that front picture where the log is all the way across. So this is upriver from the dam.
Yeah.
And that one, the last time, I didn't go all the way there because it was raining hard that day and the water was moving real fast. But at the previous time when I was kayaking, my wife and I came up from the other way, and there was also another log off of a dock that somebody had that had broken loose, and it was up against that, and so it was creating like a little mini log jam there. And so, even as far as dam safety, it seems like that tree needs to be out of there because
Yeah,
it catches
and like I
stick.
say, you know, you get a couple of guys that are running chainsaws and it doesn't take very long. You know, you start on the one end and we always took a pole saw to get limbs, the higher limbs to clean it out and it's, you can get it done pretty fast.
All right, let's move on with the plan on that. I mean, to me, I see two issues. Going there and clearing out this stuff, I definitely don't see that as a city responsibility by any stretch. It's indicative of another problem with it, but Jamie, is that pretty clear from the discussion?
Well, it gives me another couple of avenues to try.
All right, all right. Do you want to put that back on the agenda for the January meeting?
Probably more, it'll probably be February or March.
For February. All right, let's move to the vacation of undeveloped roadways, Silkus Lake Club Plat. I've already made my little spiel about that. Jamie, what do you got?
Well, we have received the dedication from Lane County, signed by Lane County, of the undeveloped roadways of the Silkus Lake Club Plat to the public. First they dedicate it to the public and then they quitclaim deed all of those undeveloped roads to Dune City. And again, these are the undeveloped roads, so it doesn't involve any roadway that actually has pavement on it. They retain their interest in that. There's one road in particular that is a major headache, especially in high water years, and so I didn't think we needed to take on a problem, a known problem. And I told them, you fix that, we'll talk, but not until you get the drainage issues resolved on that road. But anyway, so these are the undeveloped roadways, and as we had talked before, our code provides that we follow the provisions of ORS Chapter 271 for vacations, so that if an individual is interested, you split it's a roadway easement, and you split it in two between the two adjoining property owners. Someone makes a petition to have if they want the whole thing, they have to get sign off from the other property owner saying that they're not interested anyway, but there's a procedure to follow. But before we do that, we have to accept the deeds and the documents from Lane County with an execution. So it is before you to approve or disapprove of accepting those roadways.
Council?
Those easements, because they're not roadways. They're public utility easements and roadways.
Makes sense to me.
Are there any motions?
I will make the motion that we accept the Silkus Lake Club Plat as presented.
I'll second it.
Any discussion from the council? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Acquisition of property, item 10F.
There is nothing on this. I placed it on the agenda as a placeholder in case I heard back
All right,
from the property owner, and I have not.
then we will move on to reports. The mayor continues her recovery. Good news. Community Center report, Duke Wells is 6. Site review report, Kim, you got anything?
I went out and checked the tree. Jamie called me, wanted me to go check. Somebody was cutting the tree down. Went out and what was happening, it was tearing the guy's footing out around his house. It was real close to the house. And it was actually a danger tree. And he's supposed to call Jamie to get a permit.
And I have not heard from him yet.
Okay.
But I'll call tomorrow, because we're closed.
Anything else?
That's it.
All right, water quality report. Sheldon put his report into the council packet. Are there any questions? Public Works Maintenance Supervisor report, emergency service report, city administrator, recorder, planning, staff report. Jamie, you have the rest of the evening.
Those reports are in your binders. I think we've talked about almost everything. Or it has been in the newspaper and everybody is already aware of a lot of it. A lot of permits in October. Nothing, no new homes, but lots of permits, lots of work. Planning Commission appointed the one and only applicant. Well, first they appointed themselves as the CAC on the review of Title 15, Chapter 155, Sections 1, 2, and 3. And then they also appointed Paul Riley as to serve at this CAC. So we're excited we get to move forward on that.
Who was the person?
I'm sorry?
Did you say Paul Riley?
Yes. I have reached the point on some of the septic issues. Usually, here's what I do, so I can so you'll know exactly what's going on. I will send a reminder letter that they need to, it's time, that their time ran out on such and such a date. And, you know, make arrangements and call us and let us know. If you think we're wrong, give me a call, let me know, we'll talk about it, show me your paperwork, whatever. So that's the courtesy notice. And then I give them a warning, and then I give them a final warning. And then I send them a certified letter. I mean, they get lots of warnings. And usually, as soon as they get to the warning letter, they're compliant. By that time, they're compliant. What gets most of the compliance, though, is telling when we get lien searches in, is telling them that our records show that they are not current on their septic maintenance reporting. And that almost always results in getting compliance. But we do have a couple that haven't, and I think it's because the property owners have walked away from the property, but the bank has not yet foreclosed. So I think they're kind of in limbo right now. And so I'm just kind of sitting back on those. Nobody's living in the house, so I don't see where there might be a problem with waiting a little longer. And because if the bank ever does foreclose and take it and put it up for sale or auction, then we will at that point say, hey, you gotta get it in compliance. Three Rivers has again agreed to sponsor the triathlon. We're excited about that. Surface water permits, I'm meeting with, I'm having a teleconference with the Division of Water Resources, Water Management and Conservation Plan folks, because that's a requirement of one of our permits and we need to move forward on writing our water. And I'm meeting with them to find out, well, what's required. And that will be when I get back. And mostly what we do is dog complaints right now. And that's it for my reports.
Okay, any questions from the council? Okay, for the good of the order. Jamie, anything else for the good of the order?
There are some meetings coming up, training and that sort of thing, but they're not going to be held until February, so I've got time.
Okay. Rapunzel, how about you?
Nothing at all.
Okay. Councilor Ballin, congratulations on your victory.
Oh, I didn't know I had one, but thank you.
Anything for the good of the order?
No, sir.
Yeah.
No.
I attended Lane Act meeting last night in Eugene. It was my last time to attend that body as a representative of the city. The council will have to identify and designate a counselor to attend those meetings. They are important, and they serve as a good conduit for networking to leverage money and things like that, that sometimes things can be done, like some of the interim repair work done on 101. So Jamie is the alternate on it, being the city administrator, and that just needs to be put on something to be resolved at the January 12th meeting. I said my goodbyes, and it was a good experience for me. I really enjoyed it. Secondly, how many write-in candidates did we have? 3?
I don't know.
We don't know the number of the candidates?
I know that there was about 160 votes for write-in candidates. That's all I know.
So you've got Sheldon, you've got Duke.
Well, we don't know.
There's 3 write-ins?
There were 3 that I know were actively seeking.
Okay, but we have Sheldon, we have Duke, we have Tom, and we have Becky, and that leaves 3 open seats. So if we have 3 people,
No.
2.
2. Tom's was one of the open seats, and there were 3 total. And so it's Tom and then 2 others.
Okay. My math is not too good here, but if you have Sheldon, Duke, Tom, and Becky, and the 3 of us are not going to be on this council on January.
Ken filled my position for the term. Oh, no.
I thought my term was up in December.
Tom did. Tom filled my position for the term, so he was reelected.
Ken's term ends in 2019.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ken's
so
term
you're-
ends in 2019.
Sorry, dude.
Come on.
He tried that.
Let's talk about this.
We don't let you leave that easily.
If there were health issues that made you want to resign, then the new council
Right,
could appoint
yeah.
to fill in.
Or
something.
other reasons,
Yeah,
personal
or whatever,
reasons,
personal
yeah.
reasons, right. Anyway, Ed and I, we're going to close our career here shortly. It's been a lot of fun, and I won't make any wisecrack about us having a smooth transition of power here, but the citizens of Dune City will be well represented by this new council, and we will all move on. Having said that, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Jamie, enjoy your well-earned vacation. To the Forsyths, welcome back from your tour of the South. And let's go have some cake. I'll just go ahead and hold this meeting is closed as of 7:48.